All right, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on the time of day you are consuming this. See, I'm in a different location today. Don't ask why, don't ask any questions. Just know it's going to be a great 4th of July. Probably the best 4th of July I have ever had. All that may or may not be explained to you all. We'll see how it goes. Let me just share this out. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. All right, we're good. We're good on Facebook. What's happening, Facebook? What's happening, Facebook? Let me get over to YouTube, make sure we're good there. And as you can see, we're just recapping. All week, we've been talking how to go from prompt to product, how to go from prompt to product. Understand prompt, the word prompt is a different beast now in 2025 than it was in whenever you first learn how to use the term prompt or whatever you know as the term prompt. So we'll be addressing all that. First and foremost, let me just introduce myself to anybody that may be new to me, new to this world, new to this channel. Be sure you're liking, comment, subscribing, sharing this channel out to anybody who needs it. My name, first and foremost, is Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, very, very soon to be 6-time published author and educator. I created a brand, a whole framework, a whole mindset, a whole concept, a whole understanding that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a group of employees and a staff that moves as efficiently and as coherently, as passionately, as hungry. They have that hunger, they have that dog, they have that desire, they have all of that stuff, the same stuff that you see in a championship high school or youth football team. That's what we want to provide with our business owners. We want to provide business owners with that kind of mentality, that kind of energy that you have in your business. When you get there, when you get to that place, it is it is in a place that you will not lose. Again, I've been a part of a lot of different businesses that have lost. You will not lose. And it's been because they haven't been able to figure out how to develop employees and develop a staff that has the same passion that you hear me talk about when we talk about our high school or youth football team. All right, cool. So first and foremost, like I said, we're going to pretty much just be recapping throughout this entire week. We've been discussing how to go from prompt to product, what going from prompt to product is all about, what exactly you need to be doing when it comes to your mission, your alignment, exactly how things need to be stacking up and how it's bigger than a logo and bigger just whatever you put in the ChatGPT. All of that stuff matters in terms of what's already installed in the human brain. So we're going to be recapping that pretty much the entire week from Monday through Wednesday. Then tomorrow we'll get into some faith-based Friday, and as usual, film session Saturday. And then I'll be back in Palm Beach. I'll be back in South Florida on Sunday to go stay hired Sunday. So we're going to be here regardless of the holidays. We don't take days off here. That's not what we're about. We're about figuring it out, adjusting on the fly, and making sure stuff gets done. We can't run around talking about we want to be successful. We can't run around talking about all the great things that we want to do if we're not putting our money where our mouth is, right? And taking some motherfucking action towards what we're all about. Stop all that talking and get it done. All right. So first and foremost, let me just get through some announcements real quick. First and foremost, if you are a business owner, the very first thing that you need to do, if you have not done so yet, is go to free guide. That is free guide.makeyourmove.com. You simply just put your information in. I create a very easy to understand formula that's basically saying, look, the way you want to be the productive environment that you need in your business, there's two things. You need to establish measurables. That's number one. Next thing, you need to establish a professional distance, and only then establish measurables and have a professional distance. From there, you will create the productive environment that you need, the productive environment that will lead to the results, the conducive results to that you need. There's no other blueprint. There's no other formula. There's no other way towards a productive environment outside of making sure every single person knows their measurables, and then you've created a professional distance from this person. That is what will lead you to the places in which you're trying to go. You cannot get there without that formula. So I created a very easy to understand 10-step process towards doing that. Just simply go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. Now, if you are a business owner and you're like, look, I don't want no free stuff. I'm ready to pull the trigger right now. I want As One Cruikshank coming into my business and speaking to my employees and giving them the same energy he has, teaching them how to be entrepreneurs, teaching them how to be productive, teaching myself how to implement this whole Move Swiftly system. So we have that staff, we have that employees, those employees that have that same hunger and that same jog and that same drive in them. If you want that right now, then simply go to makeyourmove.com. That is makeyourmove.com. You can go and just simply book me to speak there. You can book a meeting with me. You can shop. You can purchase a couple of copies of my book. You can do all the research that you need to do on me is right there on makeyourmove.com. Let me read it out loud for you guys so you guys understand. Because what I found out this week is when you look at the website makeyourmove.com, this was not written with AI, just so we're clear. This website was started long before. Now it's gone through some changes, but it was started long before ChatGPT and AI was actually a thing. And if you look at this last line, as a matter of fact, I'll just read the whole thing to you and then we'll get into the recap today. So, turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource. Hear me when I say outsource, okay? Outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as smooth, as efficient as possible. When you book your meeting with As One, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover. Hear me. I want to read that line again. So for the people all the way up in the back, so they hear what I'm saying, a reduced amount of turnover, okay, reduced amount of turnover, or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. All right. Those last 2.5 sentences, okay, strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. There is a decision that you have to make as a business owner. All right, business owners, there's a decision, and we're going to get into all of this as we're recapping throughout the week. There's a decision that you're going to have to fight, and you're going to have to make the damn decision every single day. When you have dead weight around you, when you have people in your business that are not producing the results that they need to be producing, you have to make the decision whether or not you can keep them around or you can outsource. Use AI, use the leverage, use the tools, use the things that are made available to you to outsource whatever it is you were paying them to do, and then have something get it done for you. Those are the decisions that you're going to have to make. And you have to make those decisions for the best interest of the company. You have to make those decisions for what's in the best interest of your family. You have to make those decisions on what the best interest for a lot of group of people. You can't be just thinking about yourself. So you got to really get deep and ask yourself, what sacrifices are you willing to make? Where are you going to cut your spending? Where are you going to, maybe improve your lifestyle and do all these sorts of things? All of that takes work. It takes work, and it takes you figuring out where are the things that need to be changed. You cannot sit back and just hope shit is going to happen. It's not going to work like that. Life does not work like that. I've seen a lot of business owners make that mistake. All right. So all that being said, let's get right in. Let's get right into the recap for the day. First and foremost, let's go to Monday. We'll go right to Make Your Move Monday, because this was a special Make Your Move Monday. And if you're new around here, I'll just tell you now, the last Monday of every month, I myself hold myself accountable. So every single Monday, I put out my monthly goals. It's goals that I, think about and I look where my business is. I look where I'm at professionally, and I set some goals for myself for that month. And that's just a habit that I've adopted doing. It was only maybe 3 or 4 months ago now, I can't even remember, where I started publicly addressing those goals and letting you guys know, hey, this is what I do, as a means for being an example for you guys to figure out, hey, what are some of the monthly, how can I just start to get into the habit of setting some goals so I'm staying on point, I'm staying on top of my game professionally. All right. So last Monday it was kind of a make it move Monday kickoff question, also with the monthly goals. All right. And I got publicly, you guys can go look this up if you would like. I publicly gave myself a D, folks. I gave myself a D on my monthly goals. I gave myself a D professionally, but personally, I got a better grade and all that. And again, we'll address that at another day, another time. But as far as professionally, I did not measure up to the things that I wanted to do that month. And it's important. It is so damn important that you call yourself out on your own shit, both in every realm of life. That was when I really sat back and thought about what I talked about Monday. I really thought about just the understanding that life is about balance. Life is about, hey, you want to do this great thing with your job, your career. You want to build this great life, career wise, and, dream of whatever it is you want to dream of. But also, if you're I would think that everyone would eventually want to have a personal life and, go and take off fun trips and travel and do all those things. And then also have great friends and all that kind of stuff and be physically in shape, all the things. I call it the three P's. I learned this one actually from my mother. The 3 P's. It's, you want to be on point personally, professionally, and physically. All 3 P's are like the pillars. That's kind of the barometer of how I assess the people in my life, or assess the things I'm doing. Am I doing what I need to do physically? Am I keeping my body in shape? Am I working out and regularly doing all that? Personally, am I, measuring up to what it is I need to be measuring up to? And professionally, am I doing the things that I set out to be? Those are the 3 P's, right? So if there's going to come times, there's going to be months where, hey, personally, I actually excel. There were some great things that happened with me personally, but again, professionally, I did not do what I set out to do, and that's fine. That's fine. It's going to happen. You just got to make sure it doesn't happen again and again. It cannot continue to be a pattern. All right. It cannot continue to be a pattern. When you are in the habit of calling yourself out and you start setting standards for yourself and you want to reach those standards and, hey, you don't hit that goal, don't make the shit become a habit. Don't let it become a pattern. Don't let it become something that's regular, because if you start making it so it becomes a pattern, then people stop believing in you. In fact, that's actually another conversation for another day. But I will be breaking down the difference between believing somebody and believing in somebody. They're 2 completely different things. All right. So let's get back to the article. On Monday, let me just read it through real quick. My monthly assessment June grade was a D. Let's call it what it is. I'm giving myself a D professionally this month. Now, personally, I said, you guys heard me say that. So these were the goals that did not happen in June. I said I was going to write chapters 4 through 6 by June 15th. Didn't happen. Outline chapters 7 by 10 by June 30th. Didn't happen. Reach out to 100 new leads per day. Didn't happen. Only one out of the 4 goals that I set up for June, they got done. So what do I have to do? I have to adjust my July monthly goals, right? That's what has to happen. Don't just give up on giving. It's a great habit to develop this system. But when the shit doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, you can't just sit back and say, I don't want to do it, but it's too hard. It's too hard. Fuck that. Toughen the hell up, toughen up those baby nuts. I come from the football world. And there was a time during camp. This is camp season. So bear with me on this story real quick. So it's camp season. And there was a kid. So it's camp and it's the summer. So a lot of the players were transitioning. So transitioning to a higher grade for the summer. So there was a coach. It was at the University of Maryland camp. Shout out to Coach Banks. I believe he's the D coordinator for the University of Tennessee now, but he was the linebackers coach at Maryland. So there was a kid that went through one of linebacker drills, and he did a real half-ass job. And Coach Banks was about to get him. I mean, he's about to go off on him. And then he goes, wait. What year are you again? What year are you again? And then my man says sophomore. Like, he says it proud because it's almost like he said sophomore as if there was an excuse for him to be half-assing it on the drill. And then Coach Banks goes, all right, man, we got to toughen up those baby nuts, baby. We got to toughen up those baby nuts. And that's what it's all about. You don't hit your goals one month. Hey, you can't just sulk and don't let one bad month become two bad months, right? It's a matter of, hey, toughening up those baby nuts. They got to drop a little bit, get your ass kicked a little bit, and then come up with some solid July goals, right? So let me just read through the July goals and we'll jump into Top 5 Tuesday. So July monthly goals, start training clients again. For those who don't know, I'm a certified boxing coach and author of Make Your Move, a book about how boxing benefits athletes across all sports. Grab a copy at makeyourmove.com. During COVID, I had to pivot into education, but for the past year or so, it's been about a year now. So I've been offering free boxing classes every other week at a local park. Now it's time to scale that. Not only will paid training bring in another stream of income, it gives me more face time with people I can serve through my employee development workshops. Plus, my school has announced a role transition for me to become their sport and fitness director, which perfectly aligns with this next chapter. So, number one, start training clients again. I've been doing it for free, every 2 weeks at a local park in Palm Beach. And, doing the reason I got into education was because they actually saw makeyourmove.com. They saw some of the things I was doing with the kids and training them, and they just kind of wanted me to be a part of that. So that is that was July goal number one, which I'm going to be in the process of doing that. Number two, get to chapter 8. So it's not that I just haven't been writing the book Wintrepreneur. It's that I've spent so much time writing articles every single week. And, I have to just figure out but the outline is done. It's going to be 10 chapters. I already have kind of the outline in terms of what the 10 chapters are going to look like. Very easy to understand. It's not going to be a long read. It's going to be a really quick read on how to be a Wintrepreneur. And again, if you're following me on medium.com, I am working on a package, working on a discount deal to get you guys something done. But understand something. This is book number 6 for me. All right. So I know that there's a huge difference between writing a damn book and then selling the book. Those are two completely different things. So I know what I'm doing at this point. So number 2, get to chapter 8 of the book, to where if I get to chapter 8, I can start to put it up for pre-sale around late August, September, and then, get a certain amount of sales and people that would buy the book as we move forward. But there has to be a significant amount of time in which you're marketing the book. And football season is the perfect time to be doing that. So that's why I need to get to chapter 8 by August. So. And then number three was do more promo behind Film Session Saturday. So long term, my goal, one of the goals that I do personally have, is to be doing the play-by-play announcer for college football. So I did create a whole YouTube channel that's called Film Session Saturday, where every single Saturday we break down some college football. This week we're going to be finishing up the Penn State versus Oregon game, the national championship, but I started actually doing more shorts there. So you're starting to see more views and stuff like that. So I'll start doing more promo behind Film Session Saturday, because the goal is to do play-by-play announcing for a college football game. It puts me in front of more business owners, and I get to talk ball and continue to lean into one of my superpowers, which is teaching, again, the game, how the game applies to business, and how to use the game for teamwork lessons when it comes to business. So kickoff question was how to go from prompt to product. And I didn't get too much into the question. I just kind of talked about how I did it with the Wintrepreneur t-shirts. But Top 5 Tuesday, as a matter of fact, I'll just jump right into Top 5 Tuesday now. Jump into Top 5 Tuesday, where I actually properly addressed the question of the week, which is how to go from prompt to product. All right, how to go from prompt to product. Understand the reason that I'm able to produce a lot more material now than I was maybe 6 or 7 or even a year ago at this time, is because AI has been able to, I've been able to offload so much work I've been able to offload because of AI and being able to properly prompt it with the right stuff, to the point now where AI knows my system. AI is asking me, hey, when are you ready for Top 5 Tuesday? Let me know when you're ready for Make Your Move Monday. Let me know what we're doing for Wintrepreneur Wednesday. Let me know what we going to write for Film Session Saturdays. We'll be breaking down, like, AI and I are having conversation as if it's a human being, right? Because they know my system, they know where I work, they know how efficient and consistent I actually am. That's when it becomes such a blessing and a tool for you, is when you know specifically what you need to prompt it with. So this is what we're talking here, all right? How to properly do that. Top 5 ways of doing that. So before, let's look at it. All right, so let's get right into number 1. So number 1 is mission alignment. So first of all, if you're listening to this on the Move Swiftly podcast, let me just explain it to you. Reading directly from the article on medium.com, and we're breaking down the top 5 steps towards going from prompt to product in the right way. All right. Number 1, mission alignment. Before you type anything in the ChatGPT, you have to know what you're building. If you don't have a clear mission or vision, AI is just going to mirror your confusion, okay? If you are not clear on what it is you want to be doing in your mission and your goals and everything you have going on, AI is just going to spit out the shit that you're confused about. But you cannot, you have to have a clear, concise plan, a concise way of doing things. So the mission, AI can just put a fucking exclamation point on that mission and make it more efficient for you. So you got to know your shit. All right. You got to know your shit. So these tools are only as strong as your input. If you're unclear, they'll be generic. But if your prompt aligns with your mission, AI becomes your most reliable employee. Hear me when I said that. Your prompt has got to align with your mission. Ask yourself, what's the mission? What's the goal? What's the result? What exactly am I hoping to get out of the situation when I prompt the shit? But do not put anything in there if you're not clear with what your mission is. That's number 1. All right. So number 2 is your initial reaction. So this actually came from a real life experience. So a few weeks ago, I asked them. So for those of you who don't know, I teach at a school named the Center for Creative Education. I asked a few weeks ago, I was sitting at lunch and I asked some of the students to help me choose some T-shirt designs that I was generated through ChatGPT. So I'm sitting at lunch and I'm going through ChatGPT and I'm like, hey, can you come up with something to put on T-shirts that will incorporate all the things I offer, from speaking to books to boxing classes, something that really screams As One Cruikshank, right? So they came up with a bunch of different logo designs. And as they were generating all the logo designs, I was asking the students what they liked. So this was the one that not only they liked, but I also sent it to my girl, and she a fashion designer at heart. And this was the one that made it on the shop, and the one that I actually currently have. Again, go get your Wintrepreneur t-shirt on makeyourmove.com/shop. But the point of it is the initial reaction. I was going off the initial reaction of these people, and that's what made me say, okay, that's the one I'm choosing. Not because As One's clearly not a genius when it comes to dressing and fashion and all that bullshit. That ain't me. I just know that it's not me. So the initial reaction towards people that is what they're about. Okay, let's figure out, let's move forward, because they are the experts in that field. That's their truth. So once that initial reaction happens, then the question becomes, can it scale? So in the situation with the t-shirts, you want to look at that example. All right, look, these are a group of elementary school kids. They like the shirt. There's millions of other elementary schools out there. It's possible that we could scale this. We could turn this shirt into something. That's what you gotta understand. Between 2 and 3, initial reaction and scalability got to happen like that. Now, 4 and 5 are also simultaneous, because it's more than a logo. All right, it's more than a logo. It is not just about slapping a logo on some shit and then ultimately selling it. You have to tell a story. So number 4 is understanding it's more than a logo, and number 5 is right underneath it. I could have made it 4A and 4B if I wanted to, but 5 is tell a story. What is the story that you're trying to tell? When you look at this logo, you see the plus LY, You see the boxing gloves and you see the Wintrapreneur. I offer boxing gloves as a service. I created the Plus LY logo, and then you see a Wintrapreneur. That is an actual term. I coined it, I created, and I remind you I created it every single Wednesday. All right, that's what the next book is going to be all about, and that's a title. It's a title of one of my keynote speeches and one of the how to be a Wintrapreneur. It's what I teach business owners how to do. That's the entry point. That's a thing that I created. So it tells a story. More than a logo, but it still has to, and it tells a story. When you have people buying into that understanding, then the prompts become a whole lot more heavier, right? Because you know what the fuck it is you're doing. You know specifically who it is you're trying to attract into your world. You know specifically who would pay for your service. You know specifically what you're going to help them do, how you're going to get them to the next level. You know all of these things long before you prompt it. So when you prompt it, then things get generated, and then you're able to market yourself in a better way, in a more efficient way, with just more intention behind it. It's all about intention. Going and putting out stuff just to put out stuff is not going to help you. Putting out stuff directly to get to the person that you're trying to get to, that's going to help you. All right. So that's what we broke down on Tuesday. We basically, again, I'll go over the top 5 again. Top 5 ways to go from prompt to product: mission alignment, initial reaction, can it scale, more than a logo, and then it has to tell a story. Those 5 things have got to happen, and they got to happen yesterday if you're going to prompt whatever AI service you're using in anywhere. All right. So finally, yesterday, Wintrapreneur Wednesday. Oh, what a great day it is. It's great to be a Wintrapreneur, is it not? We talked about, listen to me, we talked about digital footprints, folks. Digital footprints. This that for my podcast listeners, I'm showing the Medium article from yesterday, and you see an image of Mary J. Blige and Jay-Z. Somebody, I went to see them, and I talked about this yesterday a little bit, but I went to see them in concert my freshman year in college. I went to see them in concert because my uncle was the bodyguard. He was a bodyguard for Mary J. Blige. So ever since then, I mean, I've been a big Jay-Z fan since before then, but ever since then, it's like you see that Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, that Mary J. Blige combination, and it's different, boy, different. This was it. Yeah. So anyway, I bring all that up to say there was an interview that she and Tavis Smiley did in which he talked about how he started Rocawear, and he was wearing a brand called Iceberg. It was a clothing brand named Iceberg. And then he said that the whole crowd had on Iceberg. Everybody in the crowd had on Iceberg. So he went to the Iceberg people and he was like, hey, you guys should partner with me on some stuff, and they kind of kicked him out the room and yada, yada, yada. But pretty much he went to Russell Simmons, who had Fat Farm, and then they introduced him to the guy, and that's how Rocawear got started. Now, this video, the reason I'm bringing him up or bringing this video up is because this video was over a decade ago. Okay, the video was put out over a decade ago, and it's just as valuable now as it was then. So basically, yesterday I ran you through just recent examples of when I've been right here on this live stream, and then something comes up, and then I go look it up, and I realize stuff that I put out years ago is actually something that is still relevant to this day. So I'll close it out like this. I'll let these 2 play as I close you out, and then we will pick this thing up. We'll pick this thing up tomorrow for faith-based Friday. So this first one I'm going to play is, I think it was last week. It was last week when I was speaking on me being a part of the newly formed College Sports Commission, and I was basically telling people, hey, that's why I need to be involved with it in some way, shape, form, or fashion as a former scout. this is what happened. And I realized one of the scouting reports I actually put online is still online in video. So I'll let that play. And then the next one was about it was our Father's Day sermon in which I was doing a Stay Hired Sunday with my good friend Kimberly Blue. And then we realized something hit me 10 years ago where Chuck Pagano gave a speech to his team and all that kind of stuff. So I'll let these two play and then I will close you all out. So go, take it away.
Yep, it's still there. It's still, all of this stuff is still, let's see, it's still around. It might, it was so long. Yeah, oh my God, it's still here. Oh my goodness, it's still here. 2013, Malik Dorsey. Oh wow. Look at the name on this thing, guys. Look at how long it's been. This is what I mean when I say leaving a track record on the internet. Our featured athletes, so National Scouting Report. All right, so let me before I get to that, because I'm gonna have to really break this down. All right, so National Scouting. This was my first job out of college. I was, again, played college football, played and all that stuff, and I wanted to scout. So took up it was an all commission job at National Scouting Report, and basically the way it works, I would go out and recruit high school kids and get them signed up to a service.
All right. So that was number one. I'll let this one play.
Daughters. See, two more daughters. Get married, dance at their weddings. And then Poinsett Lombardi several times. I'm dancing at two more weddings, and we'll hoist that trophy together.
And he had to shave his head, and he obviously had to take his time off or whatever. But he was well enough towards the end of the season to be able to come back and give a speech to his players. And I swear I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about the look on his face when he says, "Look, guys, I'm dancing at two more weddings before I go. I'm dancing at two more weddings." He didn't even talk about winning the games. This is the NFL, folks. All right, you can't see the goosebumps, but I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. But he wasn't talking about what you do to stay employed in the NFL. He got up there and told these grown men, quasi-millionaire men, "I'm dancing at two more weddings because I want my daughters happy, and that's why I'm staying alive." Bald head and everything. Man.
That's amazing. But that's the right mindset to have, because it's true. And parents, have to think about that. You talk about balancing career. It's important. They have more influence than what they think they have.
Now I gotta look it up. I'm getting moved on this one. Let me see if I can find it. Say that to give me a second, guys, because now it has to be up somewhere. Is it? Yep. All right. Here we go. Here we go. And then we'll get into the questions after this, guys. Hold on. Now I have to it's like, okay. All right. Are you seeing it?
Yeah, I see it.
Returning from successful leukemia treatment, here is the jubilant.
Sorry. This is it. There you go.
I mentioned before the game that you guys were living in vision, and you weren't living in circumstances. Because you know where they had us in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Every last one of them. But you refused to live in circumstances. And you decided consciously as a team and as a family to live in a vision. And that's why you bring things home like you brought home today. That's why you're already champions. And we're on your way. I got circumstances. You guys understand it? I understand it. It's already beat. Man, it's already beat. And I'm living. See, two more daughters. get married, dance at their weddings, and then hoist that Lombardi several times. I'm dancing at 2 more weddings, and we're hoisting that trophy together. Thank you so much.
Come on, Beverly. I told you the game teaches life, man. Yes.
That was inspiring speech.
Still playing
All
it.
right, guys. All right. So again, like I mentioned, tomorrow, Faith-Based Friday, and then tune in for Film Session Saturday, and then we're back here, Stay Hired Sunday. You know what we do around here. We do not stop next week. We're diving all in. Get ready for next week too, by the way, folks, because we're diving all in to my first trip to the Marlins game, where we're talking about how many things we can offer. It's going to be an incredible time. Be sure you're liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing this out to anybody who needs to hear it. You know the folks that need to hear it. You know the business owners out there that are struggling the way they're struggling. This is what I'm here for, to teach you all how to use teamwork, to leverage teamwork, to do all the things that you need to do from a teamwork standpoint to make sure you get in the maximum results. Again, main website for all of that, it's makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.